Very well, thank you so much for keeping it smart. 24 TV and SMB continues right here, driving business together with you. And we become excited in case you're able to watch us anywhere, everywhere, regardless of where you want to watch us from. And that you can achieve it by simply downloading a Yo TV channel. And it would be good if you do that through MTN data. You'll be able to watch Smart 24 TV anywhere across anywhere you're really watching us from. And now let us head into technology, how it is bound to improve Ugandans' lives or the livelihoods of some of the citizens, especially those living around Kabale areas or Hoima district, as the works on Kabale airport are now at 70% according to the contractor there. What you need maybe to know is that a number of infrastructure projects are being worked on towards the Albertine region, and in preparation for the first oil that will be highlighted, or the first drop, according to the Ministry of Energy, the first drop will be 2025. And we will be, of course, maybe projecting some of the activities that will be coming along with that. But in support of that, there is also a very important regard to releasing Uganda to a dream of commercial oil production, and that will have to come with a transportation means, because if we have to tap in two different directions, different routes, how are we going to do that with only the road transportation or road infrastructure? Now the move of the airport in Hoima district, which is now at 70% complete, will be an international airport managed by an actual works that the contractor there, according to the contractor that was sent, the spokesperson Betty Ndajire, says at 70% they are seeing a great progress, and after that there is going to be, you know, a highlight from people. You know, people's opinion matter at some point. You could visit, or if you're in Kabala at this point, you're able to use your phone, you can comment on us on what you see, maybe what needs to be changed. It's better we change now or never. And
what the Ugandans should actually know is that these constructions that are happening with the airport, not directly under the Civil Aviation Authority, rather under the Ministry of Works and Transport. So that is actually doing the overseeing of all the activities that is happening until the officiating of this particular airport.
And according to the contract signed for that particular construction, about 1,767 days, they so far have utilized 1,354 in terms of financial progress. There has been a 72.79% of the financing paid for different work projects in related to that. So money was not released at once. This is according to the contract and report. The government of Uganda, together with the Ministry of Finance, have learnt a lot, because we have financed projects, and at some point money has got dispersed back to the
SDR.
Yes, to the SDR. What's an SDR, Sonko? The SDR is the free money, in fact, the free money that is in circulation, especially that is highlighted from Bank of Uganda. Support your point. Why has the SDR?
Why the funding has actually the SDR funds come into the situation? Well, first, you've mentioned about how the government has learned a lot with the situation, whereby in most cases we get funds sometimes to actually maybe from NGOs or even grants from the International Monetary Fund.
Even our loans, we purchase loans.
Now, in most cases when we get these funds, and maybe these funds are dispersed directly. The total budget of, let's say, 20 billion is dispersed directly. Then in most cases you'll find that some projects are never completed, even when they had budgeted well for them. So that is why the government, I think, now is only dispersing halfway of the money to at least see how far is the work.
Exactly.
So once they realize now this work needs more of, let's say, this particular amount, then they add on it. so that maybe it is actually to also check on the situation of swindling government funds and all that.
Yeah, and that one is a right track, and it does not mean that there is no budget for that. The government already budgeted for the airport, for example, but this also should reflect on your business. If you're not directly taking on your business apparently, and maybe you have got a worker who is sitting at your store, who is sitting at your wholesaler or retailer shop, and has provided a list of of stocks that they need to be purchased, you are able to tell what you need at the moment. Otherwise, if you hand in money there and then, or the whole amount, maybe 10 million to that person, that means that there is a possibility, Sonko, that the budget they have presented to you at that moment, either it is less or it is maybe higher than the expectation, because you're going to go to the market and you find some producers are maybe bound to have increased the cost or less. So make sure at least there is a partial release of funds, and at least this one I'm pretty much in agreement with it. It is going to take the country very far, and we will not have cases maybe of someone has swindled money, someone has misused the money of the airport meant to do this, at least. But what I would want to urge here conclusively on this point is that can there be already accountability processes? Yes, even when the construction is ongoing or renovations are ongoing around this project, can there be a team government assigns to make sure that these antify or are there to clearly show where they're missing gaps very early? Because at the end of the 5 months or a year, we don't want to come, Ministry of Works comes and says, you know what, we need another budget because we need to fix some blockage, or we need to fix some drainage, it got messed out. We need to make sure that all these gaps are covered earlier so that we better plan for this international airport. And according to the Civil Aviation, it is bound to be the second after Entebbe International Airport that shall be handling the movement of cargo, services, and also passengers in regards to making sure sustainable living across the continent and across the country here in regards to trading is concerned, more so on oil.
Well, and we do hope that with this will also boost the transportation when it comes to the aviation sector, air transport. Very, very important for not only maybe looking at the oil side, but also to look at those particular traders. The trader community has actually been importing and exporting a number of goods and commodities out of the country, in and out of the country. Imagine having various points of actually getting these particular goods. Well, it is also increasing on the level of production, and as well helping us out in seeing that the economy grows bigger and bigger with the exportation and the importation of the goods.
Very, and speaking about opportunities that will be arising with that, you will realize that the airport will be creating regional and local jobs for the citizens. And so far, 874 employees have been already cited on, and of which 778 of which are male, while 96 are female, and only 14 are expats around that. So you can still see that a number of men is bigger than the number of women working around here. But we hope when the airport is now in the run or implemented, I would love to see a number of women really up there and participating. When you compare 778 are male and 96 are female, there is a very big gap around there. So please try to gender balance it. And now coming up, we're going to be heading into sports very shortly.
All right, now it is time for sports business. The English Premier League is taking a twist that one would definitely enjoy. And the reason that's why it is still known as the world's most watched and most expensive and most entertaining league across the world. Liverpool hitting 6-pass leads, giving that and bridging that gap down to 3 points behind the leaders, Manchester City. That and more is what we have for you. Tuesday night saw the UEFA Champions League take center stage. Manchester United traveled to Atletico de Madrid as Ajax took on Benfica. A lot of action did happen. But as we talk of sports business, we are going to be looking at the money, definitely. And among the key stories that we have, we'll be looking at the women's derby. We'll look at the issue to do with women football. We shall look at Dusan Vlahovic, the man who is currently at Juventus. We shall look at basketball. We are also going to look at the NFT license auction in the Premier League, which is about to hit $1 billion. And then we're also going to look at the Brazilian football. And lastly, we shall also take a look at what is happening with the ongoing Beijing Winter Olympic Games. Well, welcome to Sports Business. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Rita.
Yes.
Let's try to build these conversations from the Women's Derby 2022.
Okay.
When you look at that situation, what can you say about football and the women engaging in sport?
Women engaging in sport. I don't know even why I'm laughing, but sport is a very, I can say, it begins from a hobby perspective at some point. Especially, it needs a parenting guidance. If you find someone who is not into sporty or not anywhere in sporty, that means they were not given an opinion to build on that quicker or fast. So to me, the women participation in sport, it needs to have a fast background to help them establish themselves. So everyone in sport, women or women doing sport, I really recommend, and I can say congratulations, because it's not easy.
All right, let's look at the situations regarding the Women's Derby 2022 as Laliga partners with Watoto Wasoka. The Laliga Watoto Wasoka partnership will see more than 40 girls team play football at Old Kampala SS for 3 days, starting with Saturday 5th, Sunday 6th, and the finals on Women's Day, that is on the 8th of March. So this particular tournament will take place in March this very year. The Spanish top division La Liga has partnered with Watoto Wasoka to support the Women's Derby 2022 event in Uganda. The Women's Derby is an annual football tournament that celebrates girls and women football, as well as the International Women's Day, though the tremendous efforts by women and girls around the world in shaping a more inclusive future through football. The prizes to be won will include trophies, medals, and jerseys. Still don't see the money in here. I'm still saying, why don't they give these women some money? Okay, so you're pinning it to who? To give the them organizers, some money. Because the only challenge we have with local sports in Uganda is that mainly these people not just give trophies, medals and jerseys. That is why we've seen people organizing Emipira Jembuzi. Have you heard of those? Whereby the winning team walks away with a he-goat, and then they go and roast it seriously. And it's always party, beer, and goat's meat celebration, where the footballers, their head coach, and all that. I think we need to embrace the games here. We need to appreciate the fact that we have got players, and the players who are not just players, but a talent. To me, sport is at some point a talent, because not anyone can do basket, not anyone can do a volleyball. So it comes at a point where the organizers are not appreciating enough of their teams that they have got. Maybe it is back to the team. Are they giving or hard working towards the expectation of the organization? So all this should be integrated, and thereafter maybe they could entice for more prizes, because if we are going to always be working for a gold prize, not just gold medals or not just jerseys or trophies, that means at least we need to embrace and put in more energy to make sure we motivate what we have to put on. And then, speaking of that particular one, we turn our eyes to the European continent as we head to Serie A with Dusan Vlahovic as Juventus' new $79 million transfer is already paying off. Dusan Vlahovic was supposed to be joining Arsenal. However, Juventus made that quick move for the to Fiorentina that saw him make his way to Juventus, to the Italian old lady that is in Turin. In Turin. So, Rita, would you take on with that particular one? Okay, regarding that matter of Dusan Vlahovic, it didn't take long for Dusan Vlahovic to make his mark for Juventus in the UEFA Champions League. On Tuesday's round of 16 first leg, the sub scored 32. Scored in the 32 seconds into that particular game between the Bianconeri, that is Juventus, and when you look at the situation there, it ended in a 1-1 draw with Villarreal, the fastest goal in a UEFA Champions League debut for Dusan Vlahovic. He was the same man who actually scored a goal that helped Juventus make it to the Italian Cup. Now, when you look at this particular one, for a team disseminated by injuries and the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo, the 22-year-old is expected to be worth every penny of the $79 million Juve agreed to pay Fiorentina for his services in the January transfer window. The deal between the two Serie A clubs ran through 2026 and includes bonuses that could reach $11 million. Vlahovic scored 20 goals in 24 matches with Fiorentina this season, and then 44 in 98 appearances for 2018 to 2022. Juventus has been eliminated in the round of 16 each of the last 3 years, as it last made the final in 2015 and haven't won any since 1996.
Okay, and wishing good luck for them. Maybe they will win in the next other one. But also moving further, we head into the basketball, how they're faring there. And here's the question. Will LeBron James play an out fine of around $44 million of the Lakers contract? What do we have to say about this one?
Let me ask, if you're to look at the basketball issue, on the issue of basketball, if you've been following, who has been your, in basketball, I have the same name, LeBron James all the time. LeBron James all the time.
Okay.
So if you're to look at that, basketball, where do you see the future? Let's also look at the future of sporting
for around the country here, basketball. I am not going to highlight that I have got this as a role model in my basketball, but what I can say is that when I see Ugandans playing basketball, they reflect at least that international mood. They put you in an international mood of basketball again, because we have seen maybe some games that really tend to just remain around in that locality and do not put me in the mood of, a mood of comparison. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. But Uganda's basketball is that game that at least gets me into comparison. I'm like, okay, maybe if I'm maybe from coming in and I want a player around that area, I can pick someone from Uganda, or I can pick someone because to me, what I see. So I'm judging from what I have seen, what I've seen when I've seen people play or people trying to juggle around there. So me, I see potential. I see potential in the players. I may not mention here and here. I may not know all of them actually even, but I appreciate the fact that I see the energy and I see commitment during these games, especially around the country.
All right, take us through what is happening from basketball there.
So LeBron James playing an out final of around $44 million on the Lakers contracts. You can share with us what you think around there. The 37-year-old has also made it clear that he wants to finish out his career with his oldest son, Bronny. Now the Lakers' short-term future was already looking uncertain, and now an early LeBron exit is becoming more conceivable to the day-to-day daily. And James is one of the unrestricted free agent in 2023. His contract does not include a no-trade clause, and also he owed around $44 million in the next year, with a Westbrook of around $47 million still on the books of 1 more year. The Lakers have not drafted on the capital to help sweeten a deal, but Nola has the rights to their peak over the next 4 years. Now, James is eligible for a 2-year extension worth around 97.1 million US dollars, despite spending about 120.8 million US dollars on their superstar trial, which raises around 129 million US dollars again on the next season. The Lakers are the 9th seed for the over games below 500, and also Anthony Davis is out of the list for 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle injury.
Oh, money, money, money. Basketball, and it's actually basketball is one of the most expensive sports in the United States, pays heavily, and the particular players who actually engage in basketball earn a lot of money. Speaking of the same gentleman, LeBron James apparently is the same gentleman on a bumper for sports there. Okay. And you can clearly see he's one of those richest basketball players ever to play that game. And I believe if at all also our basketball players can follow suit, or if at all we get the sponsorship we need in our country, maybe.
Is it about always sponsorship, or first of all, what sells us? We need to look at what sells us as a country in our sport.
Mainly the talent. The talent is always there, but now the world has actually greatly changed in terms of sport. If you don't have the money to fund your talent, then you're going to actually face a challenge.
Okay. That explains why we even missed out at the AFCON that was happening in Cameroon.
The talent is there, and
we didn't have funds to fund it.
And that issue of Cameroon, we even didn't actually make it to the World Cup because at the time we didn't even have a head coach. You can imagine the disorganization that was there. And so all when you put all the things together, clearly, they actually show you that we need to fund more of the sporting activities, and that is one of the reasons as to why the Nelson Mandela National Stadium is undergoing renovation, because FIFA said it's out of standards. All that disorganization shows you that we are not yet ready as a nation to actually compete greatly. If at all we only have talent to showcase, how about the money that is going to help this talent?
Investors should come and invest in. Help us through our talents. Yes, sir.
All right, now let's pick the English Premier League as the NFT license auction nears 600 2022 to 2025 cycle, beating its domestic returns as a 6.
With 777 partners acquiring a 70% stake.
The 777. 777.
So you don't read it as in money. So 77, like the G99?
Like the G9, yeah, exactly. So why? Because these partners normally give this because of copyright issues, to hide away from the 777. So they decided to 777 partners.
Okay, the 777 partners acquiring 70% stake around here. One of the Brazil's most storied soccer clubs just got a new owner. Now the Miami-based investment firm 777 Partners have agreed to acquire a 70% stake in Brazilian soccer club Vasco da Gama. Now Jorge Salgado, the president of Vasco da Gama, bailed out that the biggest deal in the history of Brazilian club in a statement, highlighting that 77 Partners will be paying US dollar, that is 138 million for the stake. Also, the company will also be taking on debts. And lastly, the team is now valued at around 336 million US dollars. But also, the deal will also be helping Vasco regain its leading role in Brazilian and international football, per Salgado, according to him there. But it will also be giving in the club an opportunity to modernize through the data resources for the talent acquisition, as well as the media broadcasting technology around there. Maybe if you could kickstart it from here, Sonko.
So when you look at the situation that is actually happening, a lot of teams in the world are looking for sponsors. Why? Because the last 2 years, when they no longer had spectators in the stadiums, I do think you've actually been seeing some of those matches that are actually not having a full packed stadium. And because of COVID and the social distancing
I just reflected in my mind
and a number of teams.
Nambole Stadium. When you were talking about
stadium, that has always been empty even without COVID. So now, jokes aside, when you look at the situations regarding
that's not a joke. Why?
I think Ugandans will only fill up Nambole when there is a Uganda Cranes match.
Not playing an inside game.
Not playing an inside game. And in most cases, it is also not full to capacity. But they will fill up our local Bibanda. If at all Arsenal is playing, if Manchester United is playing, well, I think because there the match is 1,000, not 2,000. And but then supporting our local teams is also important. I've seen a number of Ugandans trying as much as they can to go and attend these matches on various stadiums. There is one, the Philip Omondi Stadium here at KCC, Lugogo. The people actually go to St. Mary's Stadium for Vipers. People actually travel even to Arua to watch matches. But here, when you look at these particular clubs, now, for instance, the 7-7 Farm bought full ownership of Genoa CFC for around $175 million. It is also has a significant stake in Sevilla FC. This Sevilla FC is in Spain. Founded in 2015, the company has several other sports industry brands in its portfolio, including the British Basketball League and the ATA Football, a women's football platform. So when you look at all that, as the football teams are trying to pool resources from various investors to see that they continue to get money and actually get back after the shocks they got by COVID-19. Well, lastly, with our sports business, let's look at the ongoing Winter Olympic Games in Beijing, as the Olympics linked to lowest viewership on record. Remember, ahead of this particular Winter Olympic Games, there was an issue to do with China and human rights related issues, as the Comcast-owned network averaged only 11.4 million primetime viewers per night for the Beijing Games, the lowest figure ever in the record of viewership in terms of the Winter Olympic Games. The Games drew 160 million total US viewers across 2,800 hours of coverage on NBC, Peacock, and other platforms. The 13-hour time difference between Beijing and New York can't shoulder all the blame. The Games dropped 42% from the 19.8 million nightly viewers who watched the 2018 Winter Olympic Games in Pyeongchang, which is 14 hours ahead of New York. Now, Peacock performed well, leading NBC's Universal Peacock as Universal Olympic streaming. Peacock enjoyed its best 18-day stretch since its July 2020 launch. The ratings drop continues a trend before this past summer, when the Tokyo Games averaged 15.5 million primetime viewers, the lowest figure since 1998, when NBC took hold of the broadcasting rights. NBC extended its contract to broadcast the Games in May 2014 in a $7.8 billion deal that runs through 2032.
Very well, and exactly that brings us to the end of our sports business around here. Thank you for keeping it smart. 24 TV. I'm Rita Cabanyoro.
And I'm Jerome Paul Songo here. You can follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jerome Paul Songo for all the details. And let's discuss this.